Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to wash your cabbage, wash your hands, sing happy birthday, wash your hands. Everything should be clean. You're going to peel off a couple of the outer leaves, and you're not going to throw them away because they're going to be used to hold the rest of the cabbage under the liquid, the cabbage juice. Then you're just going to cut your cabbage into the size pieces that you want. I sometimes do this. If I have a lot to do, I will do it in a food processor, but I don't want to clean the food processor and it's unnecessary. And then also save these because these are good weights. If you don't have glass weights, which I have. All right, so this is how I do it. I'm sure you don't need to be taught how to slice cabbage. You're going to do it however you want to do it. And you're going to put it into a clean bowl. Big bowl. A bowl that's big enough to hold a whole about 2¼ pound head of cabbage. You're going to have to let it, it needs to be a big enough bowl that you can knead it like bread, you know. Big enough to work in. Not overflowing or it'll be hard. Big bowls. Big bowls. She has big bowls and I cannot lie. This is a big bowl. I don't even know where I got this bowl, but it's a big bowl. You don't have to be super, concerned about the size of your shreds because you're going to break them down too when you need them. I mean, you don't really want just big chunks. You just want them to be about the size that you would enjoy eating on whatever you want to eat it on. You can even chop it. I mean, it doesn't have to be shreds. If you really like finely chopped cabbage, you can do that too. The fresher the cabbage, the better, because older cabbage will not have a lot of water in it, and you just want a nice, freshest cabbage you can get, because if you don't have a fresh cabbage, it won't produce juice when you need it with the salt, and you'll have to make a salt brine to put in it. So you might as well just get a fresh cabbage. Get a fresh cabbage. Get a fresh cabbage. Two to 2¼ pounds, and about a tablespoon of salt. Sea salt. Do not use iodized salt. It has to be sea salt or another kind of salt that doesn't have iodine in it, because the iodine will inhibit fermentation. Natural salts only. Sea salt is so damn cheap, it doesn't matter. So you just mix the salt in with the cabbage, and then go do something for a half an hour. Set your timer. Rinse your hands. Go play with the cat. Put on pants. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. Before I start kneading, I'm just going to show you what I have ready, because I don't like to do this with my hands all messy and then try to get stuff. So I have a clean, sterilized glass jar, just sterilized with hot water. I boiled some water and let it sit in there for 5 minutes or so. In your own home, you don't have to be super sterilized. The bacteria that is bad for you doesn't really grow under water, under liquids in a salty environment. So we just really want it clean for anything on the top or whatever. So just get it clean. Um, Traditional sauerkraut, like if you think about Swedish sauerkraut, will have juniper berries in it. Juniper berries, they look like giant peppercorns a little bit. But I already have one in the fridge with juniper berries in it, so I'm not going to make one with juniper berries. I'm going to make one with my favorite spice or seed, which is caraway. I love caraway. And I have another sauerkraut on the shelf over there with apples and fennel seeds in it. So you can really just master one basic kraut recipe with just the salt and the flavoring of your choice, or just salt. You don't even need to put flavoring in there, and just start adding things in. I've added everything to sauerkraut, from carrots to garlic to herbs to other seeds, cumin. Just the possibilities are endless. And I've even split half green, half red cabbage, and you get a nice pink one as a result. That is really, really pretty and tasty. Okay, so this, I'll also tell you what this is. This is a canning funnel. So that just, it helps you get liquid into there without trying to like use your hands to divert it, because you're going to have a lot of liquid in here, and you don't want to do one of these like, oh, where's the liquid going to go everywhere on my counter? So these help with that. This is a pounder. So I know that sometimes my hands hurt and I don't want to knead, and this will come in handy, and you could just beat your sauerkraut into submission. It's also good if you want to pack it, because you really want to try to get all the air out. So it's also a good packing tool. So I keep that handy. And I do have glass weights to hold the kraut underwater, but they're all being used. I only have 4, so I am going to use the method with the homemade weights and the leaves. Okay, so all you do is you just start squeezing the crap out of this. You're basically, the salt has helped it get soft and helped starting to release the juices, so you're just going to help it along. It can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how aggressive you are. Another reason I don't like to use the pounder for this part is because things go flying everywhere. But it is a very good tool. And if you're making giant batches of it, you definitely need a pounder, because it can hurt your hands to do this. Anyway, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You can already see they're going very limp. You can already feel and see cabbage juice seeping out into the bowl. And your goal is to release as much liquid as you can, so that when you put the cabbage into the jar, you can submerge it in that salty brine without having to add more salty brine. That isn't just the straight up juice from the cabbage. I have not yet not gotten enough juice out of a cabbage to submerge itself. So I guess I just am buying the right cabbages. One day it'll happen. Watch, the next time I do this, I won't be able to get any juice out of the cabbage, because I said that. Knock on wood, but I can't, because my hands are covered in cabbage and salt. Anyway, you can see that it's getting very limp. And if I tilt the bowl, you might be able to see already that there's juice started. You see that? I don't know. Can you see that? Anyway, you just basically want to get all the juice out that you can. Cabbage is so good. I eat this stuff just on everything. You can put, I have so many different kinds of ferments going. Kale, carrots, tomatoes even. but it's so good just on tacos, inside sandwiches, toppings on your soup even. I eat so much of it on toast with various nut butters or avocado. It's good on top of the scramble. Probably would be really good in a breakfast burrito. In fact, I know it would be. I just haven't made any breakfast burritos this year. I usually make breakfast burritos once a year on my friend's birthday, but it didn't happen this past year or the year before. Probably coronavirus related, probably because she's busy, probably because she doesn't love me anymore. Although she did just buy a new house and invited me over, so she kind of loves me. All right, we're getting, whoa, look at all that juice coming out now, boy. That is some fun stuff. Juicing it up. It's so fun to play with your food, I'm telling you. When you make things by yourself with your own hands, it's so rewarding. I keep seeing this one little piece of sauerkraut I don't want in there. Where are you? I keep dropping him. Well, he's just a brown piece I don't want in there. There's nothing wrong with it. I just keep dropping it when I see it. Who cares? It'll blend in with the caraway seeds and I'll probably just not even know I ate it. All right, look at all that. That is fancy. So I measured out about 2 teaspoons of the caraway seeds in advance. And so you're just going to get that in there, mix it through, and then this is where you're going to start putting it in your jar. I probably didn't need a jar this big. I'm just used to making more than this at a time, so I have a lot of these jars. But, probably a jar maybe this size would have done. You just have to leave at least an inch for air because fermenting builds gas, and when you if you don't leave room for it, you can, 1, explode the jar, or 2, well, he'll just explode. Like, it'll just leak everywhere all over. I filled jars too full and then had, just overnight, had all this liquid just spill out onto the counter from the sealed jar. You have to burp this stuff every day. So you just start getting the, packing it in there, not every day forever, for the first few days. So you pack it in as hard as you can. That's where the pounder comes in, especially if you can't get your hand in a jar. It's good to work with jars that you can get your arm in, but sometimes you don't have them. I only buy wide mouth jars now because there's no reason to get a small mouth jar. There's no reason. Plus, I use the wide mouth as drinking glasses now. They're so fun. Wide mouth mason jars make excellent drinking glasses. So, get that in there, pushing out the air where you can. All right, so there's just a little bit left, and this is where that funnel comes in handy, because now I have all this juice, and I could try to do the hand funnel, but it's not as fun. So you don't have to worry. It just goes in there. Makes life easier. I'm all about the little things that make life easier. Even if you think you don't need it, once you have it, you love it. Okay. So, we're going to get all this packed down. See how it's all basically under the water? That means I did a good job. I did a good job. My mom would be proud. In fact, I'm making this video for my mom, who's probably not proud. Okay, so normally I would just put, I would shove this in there, fold it up and shove it in there and put a glass weight on top, but I don't have a glass weight, so what I'm going to do is shove this in there and try to make sure everything stays underwater. These things make good weights to do that. Just anything you can put in there. Of course, you're not going to eat the stuff that's above the water line, right? That's just throwaway stuff for later. It's literally just there to keep the cabbage underwater. And we're doing a good job. Okay? Then you seal it up. I like these jars because when you go to burp it every day, you just can do this. And you have to burp it for the first, like, probably 3 to 4 days. You'll hear it. It makes a lot of noises. You'll see bubbles. You'll see all this stuff. And it's kind of fun to just watch it. And then what you do, after about 4 days of burping it, it'll stop making all those noises. And now it's in some, like, silent fermentation phase. And then after, like, a week or 10 days, you can just, like, stick a fork in there and carefully start, tasting it. And just let it ferment as long as you want until it tastes how you want it to taste. In the summer, things ferment quicker. In the winter, things can ferment more slowly. You're supposed to keep your fermenting area at an even temperature. So we had an 80-degree indoors fiasco last week because it was like 100 degrees outside, and I don't like to turn on the air too often. And I fermented the day before that heat wave, and I ended up with like super fermenting, and it was crazy. And that was the leakage day. Anyway, so you just put it in a nice place, away from the sun, away from. I'll give you a little. There you go. I keep a shelf of things, and then every day you just go and open it and let it ferment until it tastes good. You see that the jar on the left, that's also sauerkraut. It does fade in color a little bit, but that's what sauerkraut looks like. And it's delicious. All right, it's that easy, Mom. This video is for my mom.